Happy Tuesday, everybody, at the wonderful world of Prime Sports World. I'm, of course, your host, David. On point right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins, and we got something brand spanking new for you guys all set up for you. I'll explain it in just a second. If you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, Prime Sports World, pretty good place to be. We go live 6 or 7 times a week, bringing the most up-to-date content. The only reason we weren't live yesterday because it was my little sister's birthday. So happy 31st birthday to my sister from us here at Prime Sports World, TJ. Also, if you want to thank our friends over there at Rouge Bear for sponsoring us here at Prime Sports World. Let your presence be felt. Drop the link to their website, our Facebook page, along with the NFL Supreme Facebook page as well. And this is what we're doing today, TJ. A little bit of fun. So if you go to PFF and you do NFL Mock Draft Simulator, you can literally pick the team that you want to make the picks for, and the machine will simulate all the picks in between. And what we're gonna do is me and TJ are gonna take control of alternating teams and make the picks. And I have let the computer pick the Panthers, the Falcons, the Saints, the Steelers, and the Buccaneers. Those are all teams that I think could take a quarterback in this year's draft. So I want to see what the simulator is going to do with those teams. Are they going to go with the quarterback, or are they going to go position battle? Because if you look at any of our mock drafts that me and TJ and Christian and Izzy have done over the last, not a lot of quarterbacks being taken in this NFL draft because it's pretty weak draft class, in my opinion. So we'll see what the simulator does, and we'll see what me and TJ end up doing. TJ, I'm going to take the first pick, so I'll go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's get this started, dude. All right?
All right.
By the way, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Slept longer than I intended to, but it's fine. Totally fine. Needed it. Gonna kill it at work tonight. It is what it is. Let's do this.
So sometimes your body just needs sleep. Like there's nothing you can do. Like your body's like, you know what? Time for it.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if you don't stop moving around, we're gonna stop you.
Pretty much, yeah.
So let's enter this draft. First team is on the clock. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to be making this pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their team needs are right there on the screen. You can even make trades. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to.
Yeah, it's
So I'm taking Aiden Hutchinson, the edge out of Michigan. I think that he's probably the most surefire player in this draft class. So I'm going to take him with my first pick. So I got Aiden Hutchinson going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. TJ, you're on the clock for the Detroit Lions. What do you got them doing with their first pick, the first round?
I'm still going with Kyle Hamilton. I still think Kyle Hamilton is going to go pretty high in this upcoming draft. I don't see any draft where he drops out of the top 5, really. Like it'll be baffling to me if he makes it past the top 5.
I have seen some mock drafts where Kyle Hamilton falls all the way out of the top 10. And I'm not saying
I
agree with you 100%, my friend. Kyle Hamilton is best football player in this draft. But will he be drafted as the best football player in this draft? No, of course not. Also, thanks to our friends over there, Pro Football Focus, for putting this all together. So we'll take Kyle Hamilton to the Detroit Lions. I like it. I got the Houston Texans on the clock at pick number 3. You can see their needs there are literally every position. They're a little more savage than I am when I put my draft stuff together. I think they should probably go edge. I think probably later in the draft they can get a good offensive lineman. They don't necessarily need to grab an offensive lineman here in this spot. I'm going to take the guy who was the consensus number 1 prospect for most of the season up until he wasn't, I guess. And I'm going to take Kayvon Thibodeau, the edge out of Oregon. I think this guy. I think the hate has gone too far when it comes to Kayvon Thibodeau. I think he's an elite athlete. He's an elite football player, and he's going to be a good player when it's all said and done. So I'll take him, Texas here at number 3.
Yeah, some was leaked, well, not leaked, but what's his name? Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach, came out and said that he's not a fan of Kayvon Thibodeau, and it's like, dude, who are you?
What? Based on what, man? Like.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, based on what? Like, you're not a fan of Kayvon Thibodeau based on what? But anyway, that's why the Lions are where they are, and I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. But the Jets are on the clock. I have the Jets, and again, going DB. I think Sauce Gardner has been linked to them pretty much since mock drafts have been a thing. Sauce Gardner to the Jets at 4. I can't. The head coach's name escapes me. He gets the premier DB,
So Robert
and this
Saleh.
Robert Saleh gets the premier DB in this draft.
Let me
Again,
let me refresh America. 0 touchdowns thrown
zero
against Ahmad
touchdowns.
Gardner his entire year, and he was a 4-year starter. At like, duh. Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer pick. If Ahmad Gardner's there at 4, which I think there's scenarios where he could go much higher than this, I'll take him. I would take him because he's leaps and bounds better than the second corner in this draft class. Even if I think Derek Stingley's a good player, Ahmad Gardner's. Moving to the New York Giants, they need offensive lineman help in the absolute worst way, and I think the best offensive lineman in this draft is going to be Evan Neal. Not only can he play either tackle, but you can swing him into guard. I know they have Andrew Thomas that they drafted a few years ago, but he hasn't really worked out at left tackle, so you can even swing him to right tackle or even move him to left or right guard. I'm going to take Evan Neal, the offensive lineman out of Alabama. Pick with
I like it.
I think Kristen Simpson would like that one. So, and then we got the simulation on the clock. The Carolina Panthers made their pick. I'm gonna in the future make that a little bit slower. You can see on the clock there, Carolina picked the Ike Ekwonu, the offensive tackle out of North Carolina State. I wonder what would have happened with this if I had taken Ike Ekwonu at 5. Do you think the Carolina Panthers still would have gone offensive lineman, or do you think there's a scenario where they take a quarterback? Because I kind of thought they would in this simulator. Like, I bet if we run this simulator a bunch of times over and over again, like the picks would be different every time.
So that's why it's a simulator. Right? That's why it's not made to be tracked. It's not made to be.
But you don't think there's people doing that? Oh, I am sure there are people doing that. I bet there are people that are writing like they run this simulator like 100 times and like they see how accurate it is. Like they build an algorithm based on it. I guarantee that's happening. Like
I don't know.
People like Pro Football Focus to put stuff out there and people take it as like gospel.
Well, I think because of the team, right? It's the Carolina Panthers. They are such a wild card when it comes to this draft. We don't know what they're going to do because there's so much that they need. Right? They have been linked to drafting the quarterback in this draft. They've been linked to signing trading for Baker Mayfield. They've been interested in Baker Mayfield, not interested in Baker Mayfield, vice versa. We don't know what they're gonna do. Right? They are such a wild card. So them going, I think the simulator going Ike Ekwonu right here is really just a safe pick.
I agree with you on that.
It's a safe pick. Like no one is gonna be upset.
You talk about this all the time. Like putting another quarterback in this situation is not fixing everything else wrong with the Carolina Panthers. Like this is you like to a T. Like you talk about this literally every time we talk about like adding like the guy doesn't work out in a bad situation and people want to throw another rookie quarterback in there and like no, it's not gonna work. Like they haven't made anything else around them better to improve what's going to be going on as a football team.
And we also got to stop this notion that the quarterback's the most important player for a football team. It's not. It's the guys up front. It's the Evan Neals and the Ike Ekwonus.
Yeah.
It's literally that unit up front. That's the most important. Like those are the most important positions on the football team. Why? Because they allow the quarterback to do his job.
You could have any quarterback in the world, but if they literally get killed every time they have the football, they're not going to be very successful. And then
the Giants are on the clock.
And this is your pick. Are you going to make Mr. Christian Simpson happy, or are you going to have him very upset with
you? Well, in my mock draft, I had him going Ekwonu at 7, but he's no longer there. Right? He's no longer there. They already have Evan Neal. So I think the Giants at 7 probably still go offensive line. I think they go Charles Cross out of Mississippi State.
Okay.
because again, you're still trying to figure out what you have in Daniel Jones, right? Like he has
True.
all the tools. He has all the tools. He just has to can put them together, right? He has all the tools. You just got to put them together. And again, offensive line is it's been it's been terrible for the Giants, right? Like this is not a one pick solve. Like Evan Neal's not going to solve all the problems. Evan Neal's going to need some help. And
I would be pretty shocked.
no, because think about it. All right, so you said Evan Neal can play every position on the offensive line, not named center, right?
Correct.
So I put Charles Cross at left. I move Andrew Thomas to right, and I just slide Evan Neal to one of the guard spots. And because I already got Will Hernandez at one guard,
Yeah.
so I moved. I'm good.
I mean, I'm gonna lock it in. Charles Cross going to the Giants. We'll see what our friend Christian Simpson has to say about that. Let's recap the first 7 picks before we do that. Number pick: Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, Kayvon Thibodeau, Ahmad Gardner, Evan Neal, Ike Ekwonu, and now Charles Cross. Adding the Atlanta Falcons to be on our clock. Let's see what they're going to do with their first overall. Trent McDuffie, the corner out of Washington. Wow. What do we think about that pick by the simulator? Trent McDuffie out of the cornerback out of Washington. Sure, it's a need. But to take him over Derek Stingley Jr. or take him over one of these edge rushers like George Karlaftis, Trayvon Walker, I got to be honest with you. I do not like that decision by the simulator whatsoever.
He does not like that decision by the
Trent McDuffie's
simulator.
going to be a good player, but to take him in the top 10 over Derek Stingley Jr., if you're going to go corner, makes 0 sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't like you gonna be mad at.
Like I want to talk to the robot, be like, "Hey, robot, like what is the rationale there? Like, what did you make that decision?"
I can't tell you, but we don't have the Seattle pick either, right? Or do you have the
No,
Seattle pick?
I got Seattle. I got Seattle on the clock. And do I want to throw a monkey wrench in this entire draft by taking quarterback here at 9? Because one of the Seattle's major needs is tackle, edge, cornerback, and quarterback. But the way that this draft board is really played out, there isn't an edge, there isn't an offensive lineman now to take at number 9. Unless I'm going to really reach for Trevor Penning, or I'm really going to reach for one of the guards out of Texas A&M or the guy out of Boston College. That doesn't really seem like a decision I'd want to make. But I'm not going to throw a monkey wrench into this. I'm not going to take quarterback here. I think they're going to either roll with Drew Lock or they're going to get Baker Mayfield in some sort of situation. And I'll take Trayvon Walker, the edge rusher out of Seattle. It's a major need for this team. The guy tested out of his mind at the combine. And since you took Charles Cross, which I did not expect you to do, that's what I'm going to do with Seattle here at number 9. Welcome Trayvon Walker to Seattle.
And that's such a Pete Carroll pick. That is like a 100% Pete Carroll pick. That's such a Pete Carroll pick. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right, the Jets are back on the clock, and again, I think in our mock draft, I had them going DB, and they do that again with Derek Stingley Jr. He's left on the board. The Seattle Seahawks leave a lemon, not a lemon. They leave a softball out there for him to smack, and they knock it out of the park. Derek Stingley Jr., Sauce Gardner. I have my starting DB duo for the next 10 years, and I'm happy.
I think that makes Derek Stingley Jr. at 10. If that guy could get back to the level he was at, like when LSU won the national championship, he's a steal at number 10.
Absolutely.
Like the dude was like one of the best corners ever.
Well, you got to keep in mind, like no injuries, he's DB1. No disrespect to Sauce Gardner, but yeah, he's DB1 in this draft if he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, I agree with you, 100%. Like that's the way it would have panned out. When the Washington football team or the Commanders now on the clock, I still hate that name. I almost would rather they just stuck with Washington football team. I think the Commanders is a trash name. Their needs are quarterback, guard, center, linebacker. And do I want to throw a monkey wrench in this draft? Because we went through 11 picks. We still haven't seen a quarterback come off the board. And quarterback is a need for the Washington Commanders. Even though they traded for Carson Wentz, you got to imagine he's not the quarterback of the future.
No,
do I want to throw a monkey wrench in this and take a quarterback here? I'm not going to. I'm going to go wide receiver, and I'm going to take Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, and package him up with Scary Terry, even though Scary Terry is exactly not playing nice with the Commanders right now. All of those wide receivers who are in their expiring deals all want to get paid, and all deservingly going to get paid. When you talk to Scary Terry, when you talk about Deebo Samuel, I can't remember the other two names on the list of those guys that weren't showing up for
It's
workouts.
Terry McLaurin,
Travis
Debo
Lawrence,
Samuel, and AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, all three of those wide receivers deserve a new contract. They've performed better than what they're getting paid right now, especially Debo Samuel and AJ Brown. Like they deserve more
Especially
money.
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, Terry
McLaurin
McLaurin's not getting paid. He was like a 5th round pick, so
Yeah, Terry McLaurin was like a 3rd-round pick, I believe. And
yeah, so he's not getting paid a lot of money. So yeah, I'll take Garrett Wilson with this pick. Go ahead, even if they have to trade. We'll see what happens. But Garrett Wilson's gonna be the pick here. Moving on to the Minnesota Vikings now on the clock.
So the Vikings need defense, and for years that's literally been what's been holding them back is their defense. I had them taking George Karlaftis at 12, and I'm still gonna have them take George Karlaftis at 12. Um, yeah, like what's his name? Oh, what's their edge rusher's name?
Hunter.
Yeah, Daniil Hunter. He's one guy. All right,
He
like
also
the
he
second.
also cannot literally cannot stay healthy to save his life at this point.
So yeah, and that's something that's been holding the Vikings back for quite a while. Like the secondary, yeah, it has its issues, but again, it starts up front on both sides.
Not to
If
mention all of the corners that you could have taken here, like literally have been taken. Like I don't think you're going to reach for the other corner out of Washington. I don't think you're going to reach for Andrew Booth Jr., the kid out of Clemson. I don't think you're going to reach for Kyrie Elam, kid out of Florida. Like they're like if Trent McDuffie was still here, he makes a little bit of sense here at 13. I still think that's way too early for him. But now that um, Derek Singler Jr. and Trent McDuffie are both off the clock, it makes zero sense to reach for a corner. And before we go to pick number 13, I want to recap the picks that were just in the board here. We had Charles Cross, tackle out of Old Mississippi State. We had the simulator take Trent McDuffie, the corner out of Washington. I took Trayvon Walker from Seattle, the edge out of Georgia. Derek Stingley Jr. went to the Jets. Garrett Wilson went to the Commanders. And George Karlaftis went to the Minnesota Vikings. That leaves the Houston Texans on the clock with their second pick in the first round. This is the one coming from the Deshaun Watson trade from the Cleveland Browns. Their needs are still clearly everything. When I look at it, so I went up there and I took Kayvon Thibodeau. But this right here is more of a position where I could feel more comfortable taking a Trevor Penning. I could feel more comfortable taking some of these other offensive linemen prospects in the draft. It would be somewhat of a reach to go to Trevor Penning, but I'm going to do it anyways because I think the guy is going to be good. He can play right tackle. So you don't necessarily have to trade away Larry Tunsil if you do not want to. So I'll take Trevor Penning at 13.
don't hate it, don't hate it. Baltimore. I got
It is
Baltimore.
it is wildly, but that's the way the board sometimes works out. If you want somebody, you got to get him because they're not going to be there forever.
Well, because the board worked out this way, if I'm Baltimore, my man Lamar Jackson needs some receiver help in the worst way, and he needs receiver help like now. And as much as Jamison Williams will be a splash in that offense because he is a splash, like literally, Drake London makes the most sense here because he's ready to go right now, like now. So Drake London is going to Baltimore, and he, yeah, like would he be wide receiver one in that? Yeah, I think
I
so.
think Hollywood Brown would still be wide receiver one because I think he's earned that. But it's closer than it should be.
All right, yeah. Well, technically he's the number 2 option because no one's what's his name? Mark Andrews is.
Yeah, true.
So
And then we got the
the
Philadelphia Eagles on the clock. So I'm taking at least the first of the Philadelphia. I can get both of Philadelphia's pick. That's awesome. And you can see that the Saints will be simulated by the computer after this pick. When it goes to the Philadelphia Eagles, I think they have a lot of needs here. They could really use some more offensive lineman help. They could also use linebacker help. But one of their major needs here is going to be at wide receiver. So they have to get somebody who's a really good complement to what they already have in Devontae Smith. Unfortunately, Drake London is now off the clock, so he's not going to be the guy that fits that mold. But I think the guy out of
Trayvon Walker.
no,
Arkansas. Traylon
yeah,
Burks.
I'm just not spelling it right. Traylon Burks is going to be the guy I'm going to have the Philadelphia Eagles taking at 15. I think he's the perfect complement to what they want to do with Devontae Smith. So give me Traylon Burks, wide receiver, Arkansas. And this is kind of a reach too, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Bit of a reach.
I need to get. If I need a wide receiver, I need to take it before the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, obviously, when they're on the clock, they took Chris Olave with their first of 2 first-round picks, leaving the Los Angeles Chargers on the clock. And how do you see them going with their direction in the draft?
The Los Angeles Chargers. Oh, wait. Devin Lloyd. They go linebacker. They, again, offensively, I'm fine. If I'm the Chargers, and if I'm head coach's name is escaping me right now as well. Offensively, I'm fine. I got my quarterback for the next 15.
Is that Brandon Staley?
Yeah, yeah. I have my quarterback for the next 15 years. I have my receiving. I got my receiving core. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, they're back. There's not a tight end I want that's worth the reach at 17. There's not a running back I want that's worth the reach at 17. I'm now in the most offensive. I'm in the most offensive heavy division in football. I need defense to get out. I need defense to get those guys off the field and get my guys on it. So Devin Lloyd, linebacker, Chargers makes no sense.
He also makes a lot of sense because they haven't been exactly thrilled with what they've gotten out of Kenneth Murray for the last 2 seasons that they drafted him to be the linebacker of the future. I think Devin Lloyd is a better player than Kenneth Murray, and you can always put Kenneth Murray around. I know Devin Lloyd had a sort of semi-disappointing combine, but the kid could really play. Like the fact that he had a disappointing combine shouldn't scare draft on. The dude is sideline to sideline. The best linebacker in this draft. So give me Devin Lloyd's a really good pick there. I will say though, I think they could benefit from having more offensive lineman help. But the way this went, like Trevor Petting makes a lot of sense going to Chargers, but he's no longer there. I mean, are you going to reach one of these guards or center prospects? I just don't think so.
I mean, that's one of the situations where the risk is worth the reward in terms of offensive linemen, because again, the Chiefs have one premier edge rusher in Chris Jones, right? The Raiders now have 2 with Max Crosby and Chandler Jones.
Khalil Mack? Oh, not Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack's on the Chargers. Yeah. And who am I? And Denver, right? Denver has
Bradley Chubb if he can stay healthy.
Chubb if he can stay healthy. So yeah, I mean that's one of those. Yeah, that's the risk is worth the reward in that situation. But the Eagles.
Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles, look at being a linebacker. Hell, you need a linebacker. They also could use a defensive back. But I'm actually going to have them address their linebacker concern. I'm going to have take the second best linebacker. I think draft Kobe, the kid out of Georgia. That's who I'm going to roll with. The dude is just he's got all the intangibles. Look, he's got what you want when it comes to white linebacker, and the dude could really play. The dude showed out in college. So welcome to the Philadelphia Eagles, Kobe.
Well, we talked about this with anybody that's a Georgia Bulldog or Alabama Crimson Tide, especially the last couple of years. It's been so hard to separate yourself from the bunch because they're so stacked.
Yeah.
Like these are
there's a lot of questions about Trayvon Walker. Like, how come you were and Jordan Davis? Like, how come your productivity doesn't match what you did on the combine? It's because they're going to have like 8 first-round picks all on their defense side of the football from this draft. Like, it's hard for anyone to stand up when you're all this good.
It's so hard for them to stand out. And the Steelers simulated their pick, right? So they
So
go
the
Jermaine.
Saints and the Steelers both simulated their picks. The Saints went with another wide receiver in James Williams, which would make me believe that Michael Thomas is soon to be out of there, either after this season or before the season starts. I'm shocked they took two wide receivers at 16 and 19. Like, this is a team that has other needs, and they just sort of like, the hell with it. We're gonna continue drafting wide receivers. It's fine. And then the Steelers pick of Jermaine Johnson second, who's a steal at number 20. The fact that he's still on the board is kind of shocking. That's just kind of the way it works out sometimes. Because the offensive linemen went early in this draft, some of the other positions fell. Jermaine Johnson is a steal at 20. He's a perfect complement to what you ever wanted to J. Watt. That is a great pick. But through 20 picks, not a single quarterback has been taken. And I don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon. So I guess we'll see. We got the New England Patriots on the clock, and this pick is yours. Of course it is.
That's my pick. I thought, wait, that's not your pick.
No, I just made this the
Oh
Philadelphia.
yeah,
You're on the
that's
clock
right.
with the.
So if I'm the Patriots, I originally had them going Chris Olave, but he's not here. They still need receiver help in the worst way. Like they are just, they down bad. They are down bad. Here's the problem. Who do you want to take a flyer on if you're the New England Patriots? Right?
I mean, they traded for Devontae Parker. I don't think they need to take, like, Sky Moore is an interesting player, but this seems way too early for literally any of these guys outside of Jahan Dotson.
Outside of Jahan Dotson. And also, if I'm Bill Belichick, I see that a guy we just mentioned hasn't been picked yet. And he's kind of he kind of reminds me of this one guy I used to have. Name's Vince Wilfork. Kind of reminds me of him. So I'm gonna get Vince Wilfork reincarnated. His name's Jordan Davis, and I'm gonna get Jordan Davis.
I love this fit with it comes to the Patriots. I think he fits seamlessly into their offense. He does what they want him to do. So my issue now has become Green Bay Packers, and normally in these talks I'd like to give them a wide receiver, but looking at their wide receivers that are available right now, I'm not sure I want to reach at 22 when there's other assets on the clock here. I mean, Tyler Linderbaum is a huge need that they never really addressed. Corey Lindsey left. They could get out of Central Michigan, who's a little older, but still a good player. They need corners. They need Zion Johnson guard that's going to be a good player. But I'm going to straight up go with Tyler Linderbaum. I think this guy is a top 10 overall prospect when it comes to actual talent. For the Green Bay Packers to be able to get him at 22 is kind of a steal because of how talented I think he could be. And he's essentially a Corey Lindsey replacement because they never really replaced him. They just kind of kicked the can down the road. This is the can. Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah, Tyler Linderbaum. I like it. I don't hate it. Don't hate it at all.
Arizona. Even with all the drama that's been going on with the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray say he's not going to be playing. He's going to go play baseball or something. He's not going to play until he gets a new contract. What do you have them doing with their draft pick here? Their guard, center, defensive lineman, and cornerback third.
Well, the Kyler Murray
I don't know what that is.
The Kyler Murray situation also is not being talked about enough because, if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, look at me with him, look at me without him. Without him, I was picking number 1 overall. So if you don't think Kyler Murray's worth any kind of new deal, then you're outside of your mind. Like literally, you're outside your mind if you think Kyler Murray is not worth whatever kind of contract he's asking for. It's baffling that you think that you can do this without him. But with that being said, they go DB in this draft because that's also one of their needs. Like Buda Baker is not a DB; he's a safety. So and none of outside of no, you stay at corner, stay at corner.
I just wanted to see what DI was. I think about defensive lineman. Anyways, corner.
Yeah, And there's a decent pick of the litter left, and they go Andrew Booth Jr. Right? Originally I had them going Kyer Elam, the kid out of Florida, but Andrew Booth is still here, so this is who they get.
This guy has prototypical size and weight when it comes to the corner coming out of college. This guy got smoked a lot in college, but we made this argument when we did our mock draft and when I did my top 25 players because Andrew Booth Jr. was on it. The dude was on the field a ton. Like the Clemson offense wasn't good at all last season. So yeah, he gave up a lot of plays because he was on the field a ton. He has all the talent in the world.
No, that's what happens.
Man, I mean it just happens that way. Dallas Cowboys, offensive line, defensive lineman, linebacker. Yeah, Dallas Cowboys, not particularly the best offseason. You lose a bunch of your offensive linemen. You let Randy Gregory walk as well. He's now in Denver. So you need to build this back up, this offensive lineman. So when I look at this offensive lineman available, I think Tyler Smith is kind of a project. I actually hope he becomes a Bear in the second round. I've seen a lot of mocks actually picking him to the Bears. But his mechanics and fundamentals right now are train wrecked. You just hope that he can get it better based on his skill. I'm actually going to go Zion Johnson here, the guard out of Boston College. Becomes an immediate replacement for the guys they lost in the offseason. So give you guys Zion Johnson for the Dallas Cowboys is the pick. Welcome to Dallas, Zion. Welcome to Jerry World. Buffalo.
So Buffalo Bills are on the clock again. Last time we saw them on the field, they were in one of the best playoff games ever. And the Buffalo Bills, I had them going Trevor Penning, but he is not on the board at the present time. So they get Bernard Rahman, the guy out of Central Michigan, because, again, it starts up front. It doesn't matter what Josh Allen can do. It doesn't matter. Like, the run game has been non-existent for them the last handful of years. Mostly because, like, when I've watched Buffalo play, they get absolutely zero push up front when they try to run the ball. They get no push at all. And, like, they get a pass for it because the other teams in their division are, well, the Patriots. Yeah, like the Patriots are coming off a 20-year dynasty. The Jets are rebuilding for like the fifth time in like 10 years. Who else? The Dolphins, same thing.
Yeah, they've been rebuilding for 10 years. I love this pick. 6'6", 303 pounds. Like this guy's built to be an offensive lineman. And yeah, the Buffalo Bills do need offensive lineman help. So I actually really like this pick. And at this point, I mean, you get a dart throw at it. If it doesn't work out, you can always address it next year. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans. We're at pick number 26, and a quarterback has still not been taken. Wide receiver, guard, center, edge is the major team needs when it comes to the Tennessee Titans. They did trade for Robert Woods. Who knows who he's going to play for? But I'm actually going to upset the apple cart. And I think if you are the Tennessee Titans, you're not totally sold on Ryan Tannehill being your quarterback of the future. I think you take a dart throw at Malik Willis, who's still here at 26. He needs a couple of years to sit out. He needs a couple of years to sit behind somebody, really learn how to play in the National Football League, because his last few games at Liberty weren't particularly all that good. I know he showed out the Senior Bowl. I know he looked good in the combine, but those are not real games. And Malik Willis, he's got a big arm. He's got all the predictable size, 6'1", 219 pounds. And who better than to learn from Ryan than the constant pro in Ryan Tannehill? And if Ryan Tannehill continues to come up short, you have somebody who can step in and be the future of the position. So he's just sitting here at 26. You don't have to trade up for him. You don't have to get him. I'm taking Malik Willis to go to the Tennessee Titans, 26. Thoughts?
Well, and Malik, it's actually, again, like it's the risk is worth the reward type of pick, right? He just said it. He doesn't have to. If he goes to a situation like Tennessee, he doesn't have to play right away. Like even if he is asked to play right away, he's in a situation where we're not going to put you in a situation where you have to throw a lot. right now. We're still turning around and handing the ball to Derrick
Yeah.
Henry 30
Yep.
times a game, right?
Yeah.
So you don't.
I
So
mean, you're going to benefit from play action. You're going to benefit from, being able to be mobile out of the pocket. And I straight up couldn't go a whole first round without a single, even though I think that's what should happen. Like when I look at this quarterback draft class, I wouldn't take any of them in the first round. I would address all my other needs, and then if somebody happened to fall to me in the second round, that's when I would take somebody.
and we talked about this last time we did the mock. Like, how is Malik Willis being lauded after more than a guy like Kenny Pickett, who has I think they have like the same amount of snaps. Kenny Pickett like threw himself into the Heisman race, right? Kenny Pickett was seen more by way more people, right? He faced quote unquote tougher competition, right? But yeah, everybody wants Malik Willis because, like you said, his ceiling is higher
Yeah.
than Kenny Pickett's ceiling, but Kenny Pickett's floor is higher than Malik Willis's floor, right?
Yep.
Kenny Pickett, if Kenny Pickett never pans out, Kenny Pickett is going to be a backup / bridge quarterback for his entire career, which
Yeah.
we've seen as like a guy like Chase Daniels. You can still make a lot of money
Yeah.
in that role.
True. Recapping the draft before we move on to a little bit further into it. We had the Minnesota Vikings at pick 12 taking George Karlaftis. Pick 12, we had the Texans taking Trevor Penning. 14, the Ravens take Drake London. Traylon Burks goes to the Philadelphia Eagles at 15. Chris Olave goes to the Saints at 16. Devin Lloyd, linebacker, goes up to the Chargers at 17. Kobe Dean goes 18 to the Philadelphia Eagles. Jameson Williams, two wide receivers by the Saints in the first round. He goes number 19. Jermaine Johnson, the second, is pick number 20, going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jordan Davis goes to New England at 21. Packers take Tyler Linderbaum at number 22. Andrew Booth Jr. is going to be an Arizona Cardinal at pick number 23. Zion Johnson, 24. Bernard Raymond, pick number 25 to the Buffalo Bills. And Malik Willis is the first quarterback off the board at pick number 26 to the Tennessee Titans. By the way, if Malik Willis is still sitting here at 26, somebody's trading up to get him. So he's not just going to be taken by the Tennessee Titans at 26. No way. So this will be the final simulated pick by the computer, is going back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. Even though that those Dolphin chatters have gotten very loud over the last couple of days. But let's see what the computer will have Tampa Bay Buccaneers doing pick. Devontae Wyatt, defensive lineman out of Georgia, fills a major need because of the loss of Ndamukong Suh, who's no longer, is probably not going to be part of this team next season. And Jason Pierre-Paul, I don't think he's re-signed as well. So Devontae Wyatt fits a need for this team, so it makes a lot of sense. For you are the picking for the Green Bay Packers, wide receiver, offensive line. Are you going to make Aaron Rodgers happy, or are you going to continue to do what the Packers do and just piss him off?
Pickens was 28. Well,
Yeah.
I originally had them going Tyler Smith at 28. Again, it starts up front, but I think they panic, and emphasis on, like, not emphasis, quotations marks around panic, because I think they're in a position where they no longer care. They no longer care what Aaron Rodgers has to say about them.
Well, he's
And I
locked
also
up
think,
for the next 4 seasons, so unless he strong arms his way out of there, he's gonna be stuck.
well, because Jahan Dotson is still on the board at 28, that's what they do. I also think that's just a situation where they, as an organization, say, all right, we got him a first round draft pick at receiver, shut the hell up, leave us alone, that kind of thing. Like, it's one of those things where they just do it just to shut him up and shut the
But
fans
I
up.
think Jahan Dotson is talented. If you actually put him on it, he had nobody throw him the football last season at Penn State.
No, he did. Well,
give him Aaron Rodgers, what he can do with the football. I think
like, the issue that I've always had with Aaron Rodgers is, excuse me, is his lack of patience with younger receivers. Right? Like, it's hard to, if I'm if I'm Alan Lazard or MVS, it's hard to say I was given a fair shake in Green Bay if I miss a ball, if I run a route a yard short instead of a yard longer, that Aaron Rodgers is not gonna be like he's not gonna be cross, he's not gonna be finger pointing at me, telling like you should have did this and instead of that. Also, if I'm those guys, like I already know in a tough situation, he's not looking my way anyway.
Yeah, it's true. Devontae Adams is no longer there, so we'll see what Aaron Rodgers is doing. Johan Dotson, welcome to the Green Bay Packers. I got the Kansas City Chiefs with the first of their first-round picks. I also think they potentially panic as well. I mean, look at their needs: wide receiver, defensive line, and cornerback. When I look at the wide receivers available right now, I don't really love any of them. None of these guys have a first-round grade that's left, outside of maybe George Pickens, but that feels like a massive. I wouldn't necessarily do that. When you go to corner, I mean, we got Kyrie Elam. I think is going to be a good football player. But when it comes down to it, I think they need to also address the safety situation. They neglected to re-sign Trayvon Matthew. Man, this is tough. Actually, I'm not actually sure what I'm going to have to. I will have them take. I will have them take Jackson Hill, the safety out of Michigan, their first round pick. Somebody have listed as a corner.
I don't.
No, I'm gonna take Kyrie Elam. I'm gonna have to take Kyrie Elam with their first round picks. I think he's gonna be a good corner for them. They do need to replace Ward, who left the trade to the San Francisco Giants. So take Kyrie Elam with their first pick. So what do you have them doing at 30?
So originally, I had them taking Nakobe Dean and Boye Mafe in back-to-back picks. Nakobe Dean is long gone. Like he was picked at 18. What we also didn't do was include trades in this mock draft, so I don't expect the Chiefs to stay sand-packed as back-to-back picks. I expect them to try to move
Well,
up.
I think when this run on wide receivers happens, with Drake London, Traylon Burks, Chris Olave, I expect them to get on the phone and make sure that they get somebody, so they don't have
somebody, right?
Yeah.
So that being said, Boye Mafe is still there. They still need that presence up front. And this is a deep receiver draft to the point where they don't have to go receiver in the first round. They really don't.
Yeah.
So I think they go Boye Mafe. They need that other presence off the edge. And yeah, again, I look at my division, right? I look at my division. I got to chase Russell Wilson around now, right? Derek Carr has found like a resurgence. Like this is not the Derek Carr that was worried about where am I going to be playing at.
No, I mean he just signed a 4-year extension. He actually takes solace in the fact that he's going to be there for a while.
And again, Justin Herbert ain't coming. Justin Herbert is here, and Justin Herbert has already been like in the conversation with Pat Mahomes as who's the best quarterback in this division. Year 2, like ain't no wait for Justin Herbert to come. No, Justin Herbert is here. Meaning, if they and I said it, I'm gonna say it again. If the Chargers could extend Justin Herbert right now today, they fucking would.
100%. Last two picks. We got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Detroit Lions at the clock. I'll take Cincinnati. I look at their team, and they addressed a lot of their cornerback situations, kind of in their offensive lineman concerns, kind of in free agency. I don't necessarily think they need to reach for an offensive lineman at this point in the draft. So I actually will have them go defensive, on the defensive side of the ball. See who's available at edge. I don't necessarily love that. I know they need to replace their tight end situation, but there's nobody really tight end to take this early.
Well, let's see who's there. Tight end. You can do it. There you go.
Trey McBride. None of these guys.
None of these guys move the needle.
Let's see what they have at offensive tackle. Tyler Smith, I think, is still reach even at the back end of the first round. If I was Cincinnati, I'd be trying to trade out of this pick. That's just my honest opinion on it. But
Kenyon Green is still there.
I will reluctantly take Kenyon Green. I still think this fills a need for their offensive line. And there's some of the guys they signed are only 1-year deals. So yeah, I'll take Kenyon Green with the Cincinnati Bengals, and this is the second to last pick in the first round. Kenyon Green going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Who's a good player at one point was going to be a first round, much higher.
He is, and I just want to point out that again, Cincinnati has been historically the cheapest ran franchise in the NFL. This past season, they went to the Super Bowl. No one thought that was going to happen. Joe Burrow talked about changing the culture, and he is steadily doing that because you know what the Cincinnati Bengals are just now doing for the first time in their organization's history? You know what they're doing, David?
What?
They are building an indoor practice facility for the first time in Cincinnati Bengal history. Mike Brown has been so historically cheap that he refused to build the team an indoor practice facility.
Even though they live in Cincinnati where it snows and the weather sucks all the time.
People used to literally drive to the overpass, park their cars, and watch the Cincinnati Bengals practice outside because they used to have to practice at the stadium that they play in. That's how cheap Mike Brown has been.
Yeah. And then the final pick in the first round, we got the Detroit Lions on the clock. This is part of the Matthew Stafford trade. Sherman, team needs quarterback, linebacker, defensive back. Do you have the second quarterback of this draft coming off the board here for Detroit?
Well, you already know how I feel about that. No, I don't.
I kind of figured.
Again, I don't. Jared Goff's 28 years old. Jared Goff is not at that stage in his career where he's going to be labeled a bridge quarterback. Jared Goff still has a lot of football left in him. Jared Goff can be a very good quarterback. Again, Jared Goff looked like he didn't know how to play football under Jeff Fisher, and then you hire Sean McVay, your win total doubled. Like, you didn't change anything. You just changed the coach. Your win total doubled from 4 wins to 11 under one guy. All right? So I don't like the fact that none of the receivers. I don't think they take a flyer on the receivers. Not at 32, not in the first round. Again, this is a pretty deep draft. They don't need to go receiver. Just like at 32, they do need help, however, on the defensive end. And Kyler Gordon is still on the board, so they go Kyler Gordon at they take Kyler Gordon DB. And I originally had them taking Daxton Hill, but he's off the he's not off the board here, is he?
Right here.
I think they'd be splitting hairs between those two, and I think they go Kyler Gordon.
Kyler Gordon, another University of Washington cornerback who did not test particularly well in the combine, but the dude
don't care about that.
Really good. He's a really good player. Like I wouldn't hold that against him. It is what it is. But the dude, was awesome. College. So that's the final pick. Final pick of the first round. We analyzed in our draft. Oh, they're actually going to grade it. Oh, here we go.
Didn't know they did this.
I didn't know. I have never actually made it all the way to the end. So,
we get a one. Oh, make us pay.
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
No, I guess they're gonna make us pay to.
Yeah, they're gonna make us pay to see our draft rate. That's see, pro football folks. You had a good thing. That's
how they get their money, dude. I mean, come on, you can't. Don't hate the game. Don't hate the players. Hate the game.
I'm so hating the game because you had a good thing. You had us in the first half.
That's because we get so excited about seeing the grade. I bet you they get so many people with that. Do they want to see their grade so bad? And it's only $2. I bet people would. That's been our mock draft simulator. Hope you guys enjoyed kind of this little bit different content than the kind of stuff we normally do. We're gonna jump back into some NBA stuff tomorrow. So
I wish they did one of these. I wish they did one of these for the NBA.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is something like this similar on NBA.com. I know they do the lottery thing where you can like simulate the lottery. But
And
yeah, we'll be back.
the NBA playoffs are, well underway. Miami just took a 2-0 lead, and Memphis is up
20.
huge right now on Minnesota. They're up 22, and this is kind of what I thought was going to happen, especially
Well,
in game two. Like,
I imagine the Grizzlies players heard all the chatter about, oh, Minnesota's, this up and cut. Like, nah, we're gonna beat them by 20. It's over. We'll see what
well,
happens. Yeah, we'll
go ahead.
we'll be back here tomorrow doing some NBA stuff. So you don't want to miss that content. I've been David Huppin right there. TJ Hopkins. TJ, what we do here at the Prom, my friend?
We bring the heat, and a big part of why Minnesota's getting slapped right now is Karl Anthony Towns has 4 fouls in 18 minutes. Yeah, so
John
that's
Moran
what happens.
is also 7 from 11 from the field. He's missed 4 shots the entire game.
Like
I mean, whenever you give up that
if you're
couple of,
when you're Minnesota and Nas Reed is your leading scorer, it's gonna be a long night.
curtains, baby. Good luck to the Phoenix Suns tonight. Hopefully they go up 2-0. We will see you guys all tomorrow. We break down some NBA stuff. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you guys later. Take it easy. Peace, bro.
See you, man.